First of all, I just want to thank the Sun Belt for hosting media today. It's been a really awesome and amazing last few months transitioning here to App State. And I feel like the reason why I wanted to come to App State was because of the close knit of the fans, the community, and the college. And that's really been represented over the last couple of weeks, just dealing with the hurricane and really witnessing in person, boots on the ground, everyone coming together to help support our faculty, our staff, our students, and the surrounding community that's lost so much. And I just want to say a sincere thank you to everyone who's pitched in and reached out to our program and our team. And it just really shows the pride in the black and gold and thankful for that. Obviously, really excited about the season. I feel like every week our team just shows to get a little bit better week by week. And that's kind of the approach. We're really trying to say process oriented and process driven to just make sure that we're focused on getting better this week, getting better next week, setting goals each week of this is where we want to get better by the time we open up in scrimmage, and then we'll keep going just one step at a time.
We'll open up now for questions for our media. Please raise your hand and we'll call on you to start off with those questions. Go ahead, Rob.
Hey, Coach, how are you? Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing a bit of your morning with us. Uh, if you could just elaborate just a little bit more on how have you all as a program? I know obviously basketball secondary and all this, but how have you all been impacted by what's happening in the community? Have you all been displaced at all, or are you still able to practice? Have the women been accounted for? How's that process been?
Yeah, thanks, Rob, for asking that. We feel like our team and staff has been really, really fortunate amongst just seeing the devastation of people that have lost so much. I mean, we've had some damage to the home's convocation in our locker room, but I will say our facilities team and people have came on strong. We've already got new carpet. We've already got things starting to be replaced. Our players that did lose things, there was an App State Relief Fund with, I think, over $3.4 million that they've been able to help students. One of our managers and people that lost some cars and different things like that. But all of our staff and team all have power and internet and cell phone service and all those things that we need to function in normalcy. And one thing as a coach, I two things I talk a lot about as a head coach. One is being adaptable. And, we obviously had just started practice and then we got shut down for several days due to the situation. And then we chose to make the disadvantage the advantage. We weren't in school. We were dealing with all that stuff. And we use it as an opportunity to really get out in the community and engage and help and serve. And that was you really saw the impact of the flooding and the impact of the devastation when you start meeting people person for person who have literally lost everything. And we did, thanks to our administration, and Chancellor Norris has been amazing getting App State back up and running. We did have the opportunity to practice. And like I said, we made the disadvantage the advantage. We had no classes and more time on court, and we used that time wisely to really lock in and try to move the needle in our program.
Let's jump over to Victoria.
Yeah, Coach, obviously you're just speaking very highly of the community and you're very new to it. And you also have a lot of girls that are new to it. As you know, you've brought in a couple transfers while you do have some returners. Just what have you seen from them as they've kind of have to dealt with this and as you've started practice, and what excites you about this team you have?
Well, I think the first thing that I noticed is immediately the next day we had 2 or 3 players already coming and helping the Red Cross. I mean, it was like one day was flooding, the next day home's convocation upstairs was turned into a shelter for people, and we had players coming over early in the morning and serving without us even organizing that. And so that just shows to the types of individuals that we want to bring into our program. We want high character types of players and people that came to Boone to be a part of not just the women's basketball program, but to be a part of, Boone and the community. And so that's something that I noticed right away and I was really proud of and really thankful for. And I think a lot of coaches would say that as far as their kids really stepping up and serving and helping out.
Let's go over to Adam.
Coach Sharp, what can you say? I mean, you have a preseason all-conference selection and a returner, even as you as a first-year coach, and Emily Carver. I know when it comes to being a first-year coach, sometimes in the era that we are in now, you have to re-recruit even some of the players on the roster. Can you take us through what that was to convince her that you were the right coach for her and that this was still App State was still the right place for her to finish out her career, and what kind of impact she's going to make for your team this season?
Yeah, obviously it's great to walk in and inherit a player like Emily Carver. I think the exciting thing about Emily Carver was I recruited her to my last school and she had made an unofficial visit. And so I already had a previous relationship with her and her family both. And her dad has always kind of still supported me. Even though she didn't come here, he would message me on Twitter and encourage me from afar. And so that was kind of fun to be reunited with a player that I really, really wanted and to have the opportunity. I wish I had her for more than 1 year, obviously, but really excited to have her and grow her game. And I do want to make a comment about the returners. You know, the new players signed up to play for me. And so, you know, they buy in but the returners who didn't necessarily, I know they chose to come back, but they didn't sign up to play for me, but they have signed up to play for me, and their leadership, their work ethic, their actions, how they've gone about things, how they have really helped us in recruiting. They bleed black and gold. And I am so thankful for how they've made this transition really smooth for our staff and our team. And it starts with Emily Carver and her leadership in the locker room and just her positivity as a person. And, you know, we are playing such a different style of play. And, you know, it takes some adaptability, like I mentioned before. And I feel like they want to win and are willing to do what it takes and make the appropriate sacrifices on both ends of the floor. And I'm enjoying coaching Emily Carver. She can drive it. She can shoot it. She can rebound. She takes 0 possessions off, which is why she's a preseason first team player, because she just plays the game the right way.
Thanks, Coach Sharp. Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have a brand new team, obviously. We hit the ground running this summer. Really excited about the ground we've been able to cover this summer up until now. What you've seen from Arkansas State women's basketball the past 2 years is not what you'll see from us this year. We play completely different. I love how fast this team is gelled. I love the style of play that we're able to now play, which is what we always wanted to do. We knew at the end of the year last year we had a lack of depth issue that we needed to address, and I think that we fully addressed that. So for me, it's not about outcomes. It's not about what people think we're going to do or anything like that. For us, it's just every day, what can we do to get better? And I like the focus of this team. I like the hunger of this team. So I've been really impressed with the work ethic of this team, the competitiveness of this team, and we'll be really excited to get the season going here pretty soon.
We'll open up now for questions from our media. Please raise your hand and we'll call on you for those questions. We'll start it off with Victoria.
Hey, Coach. You just mentioned that you're excited about how well this team has gelled so far this season. You have added 4 senior transfers. How have they mixed, and kind of how have you seen their leadership and their experience kind of help propel that team?
It was important for us to go out and get experienced players that have kind of been there, done that. That could come in and help our returners have a voice. And, you know, they have a voice and they work hard and they say the right things. And I think that it's important that, you know, when you have to reconstruct the team, that you find people that actually fit the way you want to play and they fit you as well. So we're really proud of the team that we put together. And, you know, I like that people are unaware of what we're capable of. Again, this team is hungry. They're competitive. They work hard every single day. But those 4 senior transfers, they do a lot. They speak up in practice. They hold people accountable. They're very disciplined. So it's been a joy to have them in practice every day.
Let's go over to Chris.
Hey, Coach, what are just some other areas you kind of want to address now? We're kind of under 20 days away from tip-off.
Not much at all. I like where we are. I like that people don't know where we are. For us, it's about what can we do every single day to be better. In time, people will get to see us play, and I'm good with that. I think for us, I love the way that we play, which is completely different. When you see us play this year, it will not look the same as it looked the last 2 years. We're going to play a lot faster. We can shoot a lot better. We have a lot more guards that are capable of scoring at all 3 levels. Defensively, I think we're better. We're going to be able to pick people up full court this year. And so we'll really, truly get to play the way we've always wanted to play. And I think that that's a testament to my staff and the work that they've put in the spring to go out and find the roster that we needed to be able to play the way we really want to play.
Let's go over to Kara.
Hey, good morning, Coach. With
Good
Kristlyn Rose entering, her sophomore season, what step is she capable of taking this season, and what step do you need her to take this season?
I said from the beginning last year, like you need to remember that name. She was a freshman, and freshmen go through freshman stuff. And towards the end of the season, you can really see what she's capable of. I can tell you that she's a different human right now. She's our floor general. She runs the show. Our pace starts with her. So her growth has been tremendous. And I really think that she's going to have a really good year this year. And I'm going to lean a lot on her. She's our point guard, and I want her to be the extension of me on the floor. And she's done a very good job of taking that role, grabbing the bull by the horns, and accepting it. So I'm really excited for you guys, for everybody to see a different Kristlyn Rose this year.
Let's go back to Chris.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about Hana, got named to the preseason All Sunbelt team. How much has she just developed, not just on the floor, but now kind of more into a leadership role, being one of the veterans of the team?
There's never a practice that goes by that she doesn't speak up. She's competitive. She wants to win. She stayed for a reason because she believes in the vision. And she's more than capable, I think, of being on any team, all conference wise. She's a great shooter. She's proven that already, and she continues to prove that every day in practice. So I think that the way that we're going to play this year, I think she's going to get a lot of more opportunities to knock down open shots. But she's definitely stepped into a big time leadership role for us. If we're ever having a day where maybe we may be lacking a little bit, she's always going to speak up. So it's been really cool for me to see her step into that role, and looking forward to her having a great year as well.
Thanks for the time this morning, Coach Rogers.
So yeah, we're like everybody else. We're getting the season going. We're working hard. I think everyone likes their team right now. We're really in that stage. We're trying to figure out what we have. I don't think you really know what you have until you see. Everything's relative. So yeah, we may like our team, but I know everyone likes your team right now. So we've got to continue to work hard one day at a time to see where this takes us and find out, because we know the Sun Belt is and we RPI 11 last year, an incredibly strong year, one of the best years the Sun Belt's probably ever had. So we've got to prepare for our gauntlet of a season. We're trying to do that one day at a time right now.
And we'll open up now for questions from our media. For our media, please raise your hand and we'll call on you to ask those questions. We'll kick it off with Adam.
Morning, Coach. You guys are bringing back, a front court that's going to be really imposing. It was last year with a couple of your players, including one of the top shot blockers in the league.
Yeah.
And then you guys were really good at crashing the offensive glass last year too. What sort of improvements have you seen the team make in terms of being able to translate that into more scoring and more possessions and those types of things to make you guys a more offensively dangerous program?
Yeah, Adam, that's a great question. That's something we're really focusing on right now is last year, offensive rebound. And I'm a big guy, offensive rebound margin, turnover margin, free throw margin. Those are 3 margins we're really trying to chase. So last year we did a pretty good job on the offense boards. We could be better. We had some turnover. I guess like you see a lot of teams with the portal, our top 3 scorers are gone. You bring back, like you said, 2 really, we thought we'd signed 2 of the best freshmen in the league last year. When you look at Riley Stack and Alancia Ramsey and Delana Carter, a 3rd freshman who we think is really talented. So Riley, like you said, was I think she led the league in block shots. As a freshman. Alancia Ramsey named 3rd team all conference this season, had a really good freshman year for us as far as rebounding and scoring. So I think you're going to see a lot from them crashing. I think you're going to see, kind of like Coach Rogers was saying, a little bit different style of play from us. We're going to be a little bit, of course, everyone in this league is fast. So I hate to say we're going to be fast because everybody in this league is fast, but certainly an emphasis is to play fast, crash offensive boards. But like I said, there's 3 margins we're going after, and the offensive rebound is one of those big ones.
Let's go over to Victoria.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned Alancia Ramsey. She is one of the youngest players to kind of earn that Sun Belt preseason honor as a sophomore. Just how have you seen her grow this offseason, and what are you looking? I mean, you mentioned a few things you're looking for improvement on, but what are you looking to see out of her this season?
Yeah, I think like you said, we use the term growth mentality. If this was a stock, we're trying to make sure we're growing our portfolio. And so you look at, in a league like the Sun Belt, not a lot of people build through high school players. And that's something I've always been big on, is trying to build through. Because to build something special, like you look at what Sean has done at JMU, like you got to have your Peyton McDaniels. You got to have those kids who are in your program for 3 and 4 years at a time if you want to be able to sustain some success. And that's what we're trying to do. And we hope that freshman class we signed last year is the core to what we're trying to do over the next few years. So you look at Alaura Ramsey. I was so excited to see her when that award came out, because she's had some ups and downs. We've had good days and we've had bad days this preseason. And we had a talk maybe a week or so ago, and just kind of had to deliver a strong message and just get the point across. We think she's capable of big things, but I also think there's room for growth and maturity. And she's responded really well. And what we've seen the last week of practice has been a kid who looks every bit of an all-conference Sun Belt player. So, but now that's a small sample size. So I think the challenge for Alaura is what we're asking her to do in regards to your question is, can you bring that every day? Can you come out and bring that consistent approach of, I'm going to bring the emotional maturity, and keep in mind, everybody's working hard. Everybody's getting coached at a high level. What are you doing outside of this? Are you putting the time in on the gym? Are you seeking extra workouts? So I think that's kind of the next step we're looking to see from her, because we do believe, like you said, she's got the potential to be as good as anyone in this league as a sophomore. And so does she take that step this year? We're excited to find out.
Let's go back to Adam.
Coach, regarding your schedule, you guys have a lot of home games, but even some of your road trips are pretty close by. So a lot of opportunities for you guys to stay in your own bed, and but at the same time get ready for conference play. What are you looking for from the team in non-conference play specifically to get you ready for, as many allude to, the gauntlet of that is the Sun Belt Conference?
We're trying to follow Commissioner Gill's advice. He keeps saying you got to win at least 70% of your games. I want more home games. So, we're trying to follow what he's putting out there. So we do have we've led. If you look at non-conference schedule, we've had the hardest non-conference strength of schedule the 2 years I've been the head coach at Coastal Carolina. So this year we're not playing as many Power Fives. I think we played 7 Power Fives all on the road in the last 2 years. This year, there's only one, but it is a top 5 program in NC State, so that's going to be a really tough game. But then you're seeing some more local games. We tried to reduce our travel down. I say that, and then the MAC Challenge gives us, we're going to Central Michigan. So, but outside of that, we're going to have some closer games. But we hope it's a schedule. When we look at it as a team, like we should be successful in the non-conference schedule. If we want to take a step forward, I'm not going to sit here and tell you we're great or all this. Like we need to take a step forward. We need to be better in the non-conference schedule. We feel like we put together a schedule that gives us a chance to win 70% of those games. So hopefully we're going to see that jump this year when non-conference slate gets going.
Thanks, Coach Pederson. Appreciate the time this morning.
Thank you, guys.
Sure. I'm really excited to be a part of my first Sun Belt Media Day. This is a really, really good league. Lots of very good coaches, tons of talent, having spent 5 years at the junior college level, and got familiar. Of course, Troy is known for recruiting JUCO kids, and I had one player go there. And so just a league that I've been able to follow and have a lot of respect for. And so we know it's going to be a huge challenge coming in here year one with a mostly new team, but we're excited, and we've been having a solid preseason, and this group just needs to continue to grow together.
We'll open up now for questions from our media. For our media, please raise your hand and we'll call on you. We'll start it off with Victoria.
Hey, Coach, as your first year kind of gets going here, what are some goals maybe you've set with the team or the culture you're kind of hoping to establish as you enter the season?
Yeah, so first of all, we try to be very process oriented with our goals. So we always talk about whenever we get into season, we want to get better each day. You want to try to win the next game, and you want to be playing your best basketball in March. So that's what we've really been focused on. Again, just really embracing that process. And I think that those are things that, they don't change, day to day, whether you're coming off of a win or coming off of a loss. We're just trying to focus on getting better the next day and winning that next game. And peaking at the right time. So as far as culture goes, we talk about, we want to be a team that's tough. We want to be connected, and we want to be disciplined. And, you know, those are things that are, you know, again, that are just really important for us and, you know, building up this program. So talk about discipline, you know, we're talking about doing things the right way every single time. You know, we want to be connected. I'm just a really firm believer that the most connected together teams, those are the teams that are winning late in the year, teams that want to play really hard for each other. And then, you know, tough, you know, I mean, this is a really tough conference. You know, you've got to be mentally tough. You have to be physically tough. You know, we know that there's the travel here, you know, so, I mean, you know, those are things that we've tried to create those habits over the preseason. And, you know, we're just trying to see that identity kind of come into fruition.
Let's go over to Adam.
Good morning, Coach. This is your, you know, first season at Georgia Southern, first Division I head coaching job. What's been maybe one of the most challenging things you've experienced so far in your role, and then maybe one of the most rewarding things you've experienced to this point?
Yeah, I would say one of the most challenging things, and it's a really good thing, but it's just you know, having so many more people connected to your program. And again, I mean that a challenge in a good way, but just in my experience, small college basketball, whether that's junior college, NAI, and even Division II, maybe having one staff member and just used to kind of having my hand in every single thing. We have such great support here at Georgia Southern, support staff. So I think that's just one thing that is, you know, just been something to kind of get used to. You know, and I think one of the most rewarding things is having the opportunity to have a full circle moment. And I think I have 6 players on my team that I've coached before, and a couple players I coached 1 or 2 years at the junior college level, and now getting a chance to coach them for their senior year. I think just first Division I head job, it's just kind of a special moment, you know, again, to have that full circle. And I think it's something that they're taking pride in, is like, okay, hey, this is coaching his first Division I head job. And I think they want to do a good job, obviously for Georgia Southern and for themselves. But I think it's also something that they take pride in and hopefully playing for me and taking this program to new heights.
Let's go back to Victoria.
Just looking at your roster, you have added quite a few senior transfers. Kind of what were you looking for as far as leadership qualities, especially like you said, making that transition up to Division I as well as you are?
Yeah, so lots of seniors. It would have been nice to maybe get a couple more juniors for some continuity, but that's just kind of the way it worked out. Again, some of those are players that I coached before at the JUCO level, so they only had 1 year left, and that just happened to be the timing. And so talk about timing is everything. I'm like, well, had I had to wait 1 more year to get an opportunity like this, my water would have ran out, right, with some of my JUCO ties. So you know, I think the big thing is just the familiarity with several of those seniors, but we also have some transfer seniors like a Nikki Gwynn, right? That was a big time scorer at Queens. And so really we were trying to assemble, you know, the most talent that we could. And also, again, character, of course, is really, really important. So I think we have 4 1,000 point scorers in there. So I think we have a lot of individual experience. Now we're trying to make that obviously collective experience and success, but we're trying to develop into a player-led team again, even though there is some familiarity there. A lot of players, you know, everybody's kind of been at other places the last year, so everybody's kind of trying to find their footing here at Georgia Southern.
Great. Thanks, Coach Haden. We appreciate the time this morning.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Excited for the year to start. Really appreciate the Sun Belt for, again, providing this opportunity for us to just highlight women's basketball, our league, very competitive league. I'm excited about this year. I think this is going to be probably one of the most challenging years in the Sun Belt for the race for the title. So really looking forward to it. Excited about our team, and can't wait to get started.
We'll open up now for questions from our media. Please raise your hand and we'll call on you for questions. We'll start off with Stan Autry. Stan, you're on mute.
Yeah, good morning, Gene. Thanks. You got 2 all-conference nominees that are preseason all-conference girls that are coming back. What sort of continued growth have you seen from them, and what can we expect from those 2 this year?
Well, you know, it's always good to get preseason awards, and those 2 young ladies have worked really hard to be acknowledged. So we're definitely appreciative of that, and we're definitely glad that they're both still here. But they've really worked hard this offseason. If you look at Michaela Tolliver, her trajectory, I just always talk about her doing it the right way and how it used to be and how it should be. She came in as a freshman and averaged 4.6 points a game. And now she's averaging 14 points. And every year she's added a dimension to her game. This past year, really with her 3-point shot improving. And that's just how it should be. But that also just shows how much work that she puts in. And then also just give kudos to my assistants for the development that they're doing during the summer with our players. And that's what we're looking for with Crystal Henderson. Obviously, we all knew recruiting her that she was very talented, and we had big expectations for her, and she lived up to them. And now, again, we've challenged her to take that next step, and she's been in working hard. You know, she's staying after practice, coming on days off to make sure that she continues to improve and develop her game. So we're really excited about both of them returning and being able to lead this team.
And you signed 3 graduate seniors. What does that experience those players, bring to you to the table?
We actually signed 4.
4.
So
I missed one. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm still asking them wear name tags also, so I understand. So, but that's something we wanted to make sure that we brought some kids in who we felt like had some experience, who could come in and contribute immediately. Obviously, I think you still have to build with high school kids and develop, but this is a tough league. You have to, hopefully recruit those high school kids and could get them to be sophomores and juniors where they can really come out and help you. But when you need help immediately, sometimes the porter could be a good asset to use. And I think the 4 that we have, they bring a lot of experience as far as games started and played, but also just some toughness. And they really allow us to be able to change our style of play. I think we'll be a lot more versatile in that front court also because of them.
Thank you.
All right, let's jump over to Victoria.
Hey, Coach. Obviously you just mentioned your senior transfers. You do have a couple freshmen here, and mentioning Michaela, how have you seen her maybe be a leader off the court as well, as she kind of has to be that senior that sees this transition of transfers and also helping freshmen that are coming into your program?
Well, Michaela's someone who can lead by example. She goes in and no matter what, she's always going to give 100%. And as a coach, some days, usually in the summer, those are some days you want her to kind of slow down just so she can save those legs. But that's just not who she is. She's just going to go out and compete. And I think when you have one of your best players who's setting that type of example, that's great leadership for any new kid, whether they're a transfer or freshman or whatever. They're setting the standard of how it should be done, what it takes to be successful in this league, and she does that consistently.
Thanks, Coach Hill. We appreciate the time this morning.
All right, take care.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for putting this on, and I'm just excited to get going. We've been working hard just like everybody else in preseason here, and excited to get the season going with at least some scrimmages and some new blood as far as instead of playing each other, get some new blood in here and see where we're at.
We'll open up now for questions from our media. We'll start it off with Shane Metlin.
Hey, Sean. Kevin Pederson was on here earlier talking a little bit about scheduling and, Keith Gill obviously wanting teams to win 70% of their games, things like that. You guys are going to be favored in a lot of your games, but you also have 3 top 10 teams on the schedule. Can you just kind of talk about, the mixing that challenge with your veteran group and also, trying to do the things that maybe help with the net and things like that?
Well, yeah, we set out this year, I believe in this team and I believe in the pieces we added and the people that we returned. and had the opportunity to add some of these, I mean, huge heavyweights, right? Notre Dame is a huge heavyweight. Texas is a huge heavyweight. NC State's a huge heavyweight. Not to mention like the Villanovas, the Floridas, the VC, the East Carolinas, but yeah, the mix is going to be a challenge. And what I'm really hoping for with our group is, being able to attack each challenge for what it is. And that's all about us versus, when it's somebody we're favored, at home, right? We're favored against, let's say St. Peter's, we're favored against them. Shouldn't affect how we play. And, the heavyweights, so to speak, are really designed to, whether we win or lose, whether we can make a run at Notre Dame, it's designed for us to be prepared for the Sun Belt. And that's the whole thing. That's what we're trying to do here, is that, we're trying to win the league just like everybody else. And we failed at that goal last year. And this group is hungry for that. We designed the non-conference schedule to help prepare us for that. And so, you can't have 13 heavyweights. I don't think that any team bounces back from that level of heavy hitters, but having a mixture was the goal. And I think we accomplished that goal. Hopefully we can win 70% of those games. And I listened to Coach Pederson. He gave me a nice shout out too.
Yeah. Pretending to like you a little bit, but
I don't know why.
Yeah. Is it fair to say that you probably scheduled differently, maybe based on what you have coming back or who you bring in? Like, you obviously play a tough schedule all the time, but to do what you did this year, would you have done that maybe with the roster you had 2 years ago, say?
No, I wouldn't have. And it's a good question, because when we were coming off of that rough season, our last season in the CAA, where we couldn't play in the postseason, that team needed confidence. And so we scheduled lighter. Now, it was still, to your point, we still had some really tough ones, but we scheduled lighter. I mean, I don't recall in my 9 years having 3 top 10 teams. One every once in a while, sure, but I don't believe ever 3. So that team in 22-23 wasn't ready for this, and went through you could tell. I remember the 21-22 season when we lost to Maryland at home. They had a tough time bouncing back from that in that season. So to your point, yeah, I think this team has a strong enough core and strong enough leadership where you would hope you can come away with a win here. All right. And if you can't, be able to have the maturity enough to learn from whatever Notre Dame exposed or Texas exposed in us. And that is the whole goal.
Yeah. Last one for me. We've talked about Susha and the things that she's added to her game here in the off season. Just wanted to ask you about, some of the other returners, Peyton, any of them, Rowe's not a returner, but somebody you've seen play. Could be Olivia, Anna, anybody. Like, who else has kind of maybe made a jump, or we'll see something different from them, just that they've added to their game in the offseason?
Yeah, sure. And I'll color in some Susha, because you know that you're around here, but Susha had the one of the bigger transformations I've ever seen, being able to really work on her perimeter game and shooting the 3, able to drive it, and just having the savvy to play on the perimeter and guard on the perimeter. And that's something she really wanted to do. And I was okay with her doing, because I think it only makes her more dangerous. So that's one. Peyton had a transformation, and nothing as drastic as Susha, but I think her body, her fitness looks much better. Her health is much better. And, as we've been gradually trying to get her more ball in her hands off the dribble stuff. And she has developed that. Now, not as drastic. I didn't let Susha make a post move for 8 weeks in the summertime. That's how serious we were about her perimeter game. But Peyton, I obviously let shoot 3s throughout the summer. So I've been really, really pleased with Peyton's progress. The sneaky one for me is Jamia Hazel, and just her maturity. And, we've had battles with that over the years. But, you talk about somebody that's played more minutes for me than anybody. Obviously with the COVID year going into your 5th year, she's really, her maturity, what she says to our team in practice is what I've been saying for 4 years, and she's finally really grabbing hold of that. So she's also done a great job. Ro Scott is should be mentioned too. Ro has had bumps in her career and battles and demons, maybe you want to call it, right? And she's worked on that, and we still have, me and her have growth to manage through, just because it's a new relationship. But I've been extremely pleased with her mentality and her how she sees things, and really smart, high IQ, obviously can score, and is buying into, buying into winning and what it takes to winning. And part of that's playing defense, and part of that's not leaking out and going to get a rebound, and, being a great teammate. So she's really buying into that stuff. So I know for people that know Rose Scott, that's something that is worth mentioning. And so I'm going to throw one more in there, Shane, because you asked, and sorry, I'm pushing my 7 minutes here, but Ashanti Barnes, I think, will have a wonderful year for us, and has really clicked as far as how good she can be.
All right.
Thanks, Shane.
And let's jump over to Rob Knox.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Hey, Rob.
Hey, man. So I have two questions. One, I'm familiar with your program because I used to work at Towson back in the day when you were in the CAA. It's great to see the success that you all are continuing to have in the Sun Belt. What has enabled James Madison to continue to be successful as a women's basketball program throughout history with all these changes in college athletics? You all, for whatever reason, has always been the consistent, whether it's the coaches, whether it's the leagues, whether it's just the changing dynamics where we are right now with NIL and transfer portal. How have you guys continued to be among the nation's best?
Well, I appreciate the compliment, Rob, because I think sustained success is the hardest thing to do in sports. And, it's certainly not me. Okay. It's our administration, right? And we've got a new AD, Matt Roan, who's done a great job coming in here and supporting us right away. Our assistant, our associate AD, Jen Phillips, has been hand in hand with me. But I give a lot of credit to the players and the coaches, right? You want to get players that come in here like Peyton McDaniel, Jamia Hazel, Anna Goodman, that have stuck with you for 5 years, right? That's to me, my personal vision of sustaining success, is being able to have freshmen develop and learn your language and learn your culture and believe in that culture, right? And even when recruits are coming in, in this fall, they'll tell you who they like and who they don't. And I think that you got to listen to them. And so this program, this women's basketball program here has been obviously great for a long time. You're 4th all time in wins. And, that's because of the people. I just happen to have the whistle in my mouth right now. It's not, I'm a very, very small chunk of this whole thing. I mean, Kenny Brooks coming in after Sheila Mormon and eventually ousting a really, really good ODU program that was top 25 year after year. And Wendy Larry setting that bar, and then Kenny Brooks being able to come in here and raise the bar for us. So there's been a long history of it. And so to me, it's the people, but it's the leadership at JMU giving us the resources to do that.
And my second question to you is, what does it mean to host a program like Texas, to actually get them to come to your campus and your facility?
Well, much respect for Vic Schaefer for that, and Brenda Fries has done it. We've done some home and homes with her. Mike Carey did it at West Virginia, but yeah, I mean, there was a lot of people that when I shared that with them, they were, their jaw dropped a little bit being able to do that. And I think that's what helps in sports, right? In women's basketball, sure, but having Tony Bennett bring his Virginia team to play our men's team a couple of years ago and lost the game, but it's 8,500 at the game. And that's what I'm hoping for with Texas, is that, yeah, can it be the highest level of entertainment for this place and this community? And so having a team that I'm sure in Vic Schaefer's mind has the ability to win a national championship, having them here and being able to make a run at them is a huge opportunity, and says a lot about his confidence, right? And his ability to kind of do his part in growing the game too, and still be able to play these home and homes.
So this is a home for you. You guys went down there last year, or you guys are going down there next year?
We got to go there next year. So
Okay.
how about I get a good dinner in Austin the night before that game?
All right. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate the time this morning.
Thank you. Hey, Garry, it's all you, man. I'm turning it to you. I'm passing the rock to you, man.
All right. Thanks for that introduction. We're joined now by Louisiana head coach Garry Brodhead. Coach, would you mind kicking it off with an opening statement?
Just excited about the season, getting ready to get going, whole new team, a lot of new faces and stuff, but had a great summer and, we're just excited about kicking it off.
All right. We'll open up now for questions from our media. Our first question will come from Dan McDonald. Dan, you're on mute.
Hang on. Okay, me and technology. Morning, Garry. You were pretty solid returnees in the backcourt with Jalen and Robinson and so forth. The front court, was that the specific thing you wanted to go out and find with your newcomers? Because other than Walters, 4 out of the 5 of them are all 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3".
No doubt. I thought that was our weakness last year, especially at the beginning of the year. We were trying some different ways of playing, maybe a little bit bigger and stuff. And it didn't really work out really well for us at the beginning of the season. At the end of the season, we went back to our what we call small ball and played like that. So when we went out to recruit, we were really specifically looking for what we call a hybrid. And that's what we did, 6'1" that are athletic, that can go out and get rebounds. And, looking at it after the summer, man, it's like it's exactly what we need for this team, with a good backcourt we got coming back and some added, but also, just adding those hybrids in there. I mean, that's what we wanted. That's why we want to play. So, we can play defensive. I mean, all these kids can guard anybody on the floor. So that's what we were after. And, I was actually more pleased than during the recruiting process, because once we got to work them and see how hard they work and, their skill levels and stuff like that. So it's been good, really good.
Of the 4 bigs and hybrids that you brought in, have a couple of them, anybody really stood out to you that's jumped out?
I mean, they pretty much all did, I mean, I tell you what, we did a good job. Coach Deacon was in charge of hybrids this summer and stuff like that. So, you saw, I mean, Cam Jones and Ashlyn Jones really step out, and look really, really good. And then, you have like somebody like Erica Lafayette that can play either the 3 or the 4, and so she can play kind of and do those things, So you're adding a lot of experience. These kids play, in high level games and stuff like that. So we're excited about having them in, and adding to what we have. It's just and we had Charlotte, a junior college kid that came in, and I tell you what, man, I was so pleased with. But then she tore ACL, so she's out. Man, she would have been a big difference. And so, yeah, I thought we did a great job of recruiting what we needed to find. And, a lot of them are stepping up, still learning the system and stuff like that. But I think you're going to see, I guess, the old style of basketball we used to play at here at UL.
If I could ask one more real quick. You mentioned being older players. I think like 92% of your roster are either seniors or graduate students. I mean, was that something specific you were looking for?
Well, we went out to the transfer portal because of some of the that were available. We knew of them, and we watched them play in high school. We were very comfortable in recruiting them and stuff. So yeah, and I didn't realize, I think somebody told me that we might be the oldest team in the country. So I mean, hey, I didn't, maybe I might be one of the oldest coaches in the country. You never know, man. So I'm excited. We all, we all gelling. I think we understand each other.
Let's go over to Jamarcus Fitzpatrick.
Hey, Coach. I saw that Jalen James was on the preseason list for the Sun Belt. Just talk about what you're expecting to see out of her to take that next step in her game.
It's always been, Jalen's always have some talent, and her problem was always consistency. And I think she found it last year. She became more consistent. And I think that's the thing for her, it's like her confidence level's up. She's shooting the ball really well. She's guarding a lot better. Defensively, she's doing a little bit better. And she's a good rebounder too, even for her size. So, I think we just need her to continue to be consistent. I think with Tamia Robinson at the quarterback position for us, kind of getting everything going. she'll make her better too. So I think there's a combination. Yeah, I mean, just keep on doing what she's doing. She's working hard. She's doing the extra stuff. We need her to stay healthy and kind of go from there. And it's where, it's like anything else, the more you're in practice, then the more comfortable you feel, the more confident you become. So that's kind of where she's at.
And if I could ask one more question, you mentioned about your point guard position and Tamia having some experience from last year. How much are you expecting her to be able to take over in that role, especially, with Destinee Rice being gone now, and now you have her stepping into that role?
Well, you saw at the end of last year how much more comfortable she was. And when we went in the tournament, she did a lot of great things for us. So we feel really confident, but I think she made herself during the summer. I mean, those 8 weeks during the summer, she was in the gym. We usually go at 12:30 with our practices, our individual workouts. She was in the gym at 7 o'clock not some mornings, every morning, and worked and worked and worked. We hired somebody in developmental player development, and Jonas Richard, Coach Richard, kind of took her under his wing and, man, really, really worked. And she just showed up every day, and that's the consistency we're looking for. So we feel that she's shooting the ball better. Her ball handling, we always were on her about going left. That's all she wants to do now is go left. So there's a lot of things that have developed in her game that we're excited about, and also the confidence that she has right now in herself. When we scrimmage and stuff like that, she looks so good that hopefully we can keep her healthy and not play her too many minutes pre-conference and stuff. But yeah, I'm excited, really, really excited about that young lady.
Let's go over to Kevin Foote.
All right, Coach. The thing with all the newcomers is always picking up defense. So is the defense going to be any different? Are the demands on the defense going to be a little different to play with what you've brought in, or how has that worked out?
Yeah, I think it's different. We've kind of moved some coaches around. Coach Sanders is going to be in charge of offense this year, and Coach Deacon Jones is going to be in charge of our defense. And Deacon comes kind of from where I come from, and that type of thing. So he's kind of simplified it a little bit, and trying to get more people to understand it a little bit. He teaches it a little different. He's real detailed on some of the things he's doing and stuff like that. So I think you'll see it. I think it may take some time for some of them because they're still not sure about this baseline stuff and all the help and all that and the rotations and all that. So it may take a little bit of time, but for the most part, we're very athletic and we're bigger, across the board. Our guards are bigger. Our hybrids may not be the biggest, but they're very, very athletic. Like how you already know how I want to play. And so it's kind of how we want to play.
So am I hearing a 10-man rotation, or what am I hearing here?
Man, I'm not even going to tell you anymore. You ask me that question every year, and I never answer it the right way. I feel like we have a 12-man, but no, yeah, I do. I think we do have a 10-man. It's all about being healthy. Us losing Charlotte has really hurt us. She was going to be a big factor in what we had planned on doing. She worked out all summer and got hurt the first week of school. So that kind of put us a damper. But then we're going to go a little bit smaller because she was a little bit bigger and stronger. You'll see we'll be able to play small and play real, real athletic. So, yeah, I mean, I think we'll be fine.
Are you going to be more comfortable in a fast-paced game this year?
I think so. I think we're going to be able to score a little bit more. Just watching them shoot all summer and Erica Lafayette can shoot the lights out the ball. I mean, lights out the ball. And then you got, Jalen that's shooting it well. And you got just one after another. I mean, Cam can shoot it. She's 6'1". She can play in and out. All those things are going to add to our offense. Offense is only as good as the player itself. And I think we have some really good shooters this year. Or let's put it this way, scorers. I think we're going to be able to score the ball.
All right, let's squeeze in one more from Shane Metlin.
Yeah, Coach. There's been some talk about scheduling and, doing things to help the net and everything this year. If I remember right, down in Pensacola last year, you shared some ideas about, maybe shaking up things with the conference games and everything like that. Could you kind of recap that or, tell me if that's still kind of how you're feeling about things?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think each individual team, it's like, man, I've been doing it a long time, and I think the recruiting is the most important thing, in a program, and then the next thing is scheduling, and you got to schedule for those recruits that you kind of bringing in, and hopefully they're healthy and stuff. But my thing is, if I like the fact that we play limited conference games, so I can go out and match up the non-conference games with the LSUs or whoever I need to be able to play to help me with the net and all that. Each year is going to be different. Each year is a different story, and sometimes you miss and sometimes you hit it right on the head. But you're always preparing, and I like what Coach said before is the fact that you're always preparing for that conference. You schedule, you get your non-conference games in, and hopefully it prepared you for the conference. Sometimes you need confidence, sometimes you need a tougher schedule to to make it more competitive and stuff. So I really believe it's extremely important.
Thanks, Coach Brodhead. I appreciate the time today.
All right, thanks.
Sure, absolutely. We are extremely excited to get started with this season. Got a special, unique group of young ladies that have been working super hard all summer and fall. They've been awesome to be around every day. They've approached every day with a great attitude, tremendous effort. And so as a coach, it's been a really enjoyable preseason. Excited about our non-conference schedule. I know Coach just spoke about theirs, and it's an extremely tough schedule where we've got 2 SEC opponents coming to Monroe and Fant Ewing. We get a trip to Hawaii this season. So just a really fun schedule, a lot of great competition that should prepare us for a really tough Sun Belt schedule.
We'll open it up now for questions from our media. For our media, please raise your hand and we'll call on you. We'll start it off with Adam.
Morning, Coach. One thing that really sticks out with your team to me, you have some really accomplished guards, even in your first year last year, but you don't have a single freshman on your team. There's only one sophomore, and it's just loaded with upperclassmen. Talk about what that enables you to do as a coach with a lot of players who, they've been on a college campus before. There's that acclimation part isn't really part of the process for them joining your team, but what that does for you as a coach to have that kind of experience in veteran leadership.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that kind of naturally happened for us last year with the transition and it being year one for us, and that the players that we brought in and the returners we just had a really experienced older team. But looking at it here, we had good success last year and kind of stuck with that same model, in that we went to the portal, junior college transfer, and the rest were portal transfers. We brought in 8 new players, and most of those are juniors and seniors, 1 sophomore, as you spoke of with Miriam. But, we had good success with that, so wanted to continue that model. We have great experience level. It's really fun to coach. Kids are super smart, so it takes some of that learning that you may have as a freshman, right, into a Division I program, takes some of that out, and can kind of hop into it and be able to get to the things you feel like you're really going to need to do to be able to win. So got a really experienced group. We're hoping that will pay off for us. They played a lot of ball games over the years. And right now, the biggest challenge is just getting those transfers and returners to mesh together on that.
Let's go to Victoria.
Hey, Coach, how have you kind of seen, or maybe who have you seen kind of step out as a leader as you have these transfers and newcomers kind of making that transition into your program?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got obviously Jacayla Johnson back. That's a preseason first team selection there. And Jacayla had a fantastic year last season. And, she kind of has been there, done that, knows what it takes to be successful. She's played at a really high level. So definitely Jacayla. Kate Manuel as well. Kate, this is her 4th season at ULM. She is someone that remained during the transition and then stayed with us last year when she probably could have gone in the transfer portal and had a chance to do that. She stayed with us here at ULM. And so Kate's been fantastic. And then a few newcomers that really stand out: Melanie Timms, transfer from Mississippi State, and Sakaya White from Florida State, Nia Valentine from Clemson. All 3 of those have had a tremendous voice in practice every day and just been really good, daily, and the way they approach things, their maturity and approach things have been really good as well.
Let's go back over to Adam.
Coach, year 2 for you with the program after, several years at Jones College, but what, is there anything that you felt or seen different this year, as opposed to coming in last year? Obviously, everything was new last year, but things that have been easier for you and just things that are different in a positive way for you.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Year 2 is probably always going to be easier than year 1 in a transition, situation. And so just kind of having a little better idea what to expect, even things as simple as the league. And I mean, one thing I learned, what a great league it is. You have to play every single night. There's not a night off in this league. Everybody's really good and talented, very well coached. And so, certainly learned that. But yeah, just trying to, I think we're all adjusting to the new model of just between portal and IL, different things in recruiting and trying to find what best fits, each program where we are. I think, being able to navigate that has been a big deal for us.
Let's go to Heath Hinton.
Hey, Missy, just wanted to ask you, being from the Pine Belt area and now coaching at ULM, a lot of transfer between Southern Miss, ULM. Talk about that formation, that maybe that rivalry starting there. It seems like it's on pretty good footing so far.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we've got tremendous respect for Southern Miss, their program, Coach Joye, and what she's built there at USM for sure. I think it's more of maybe sometimes you recruit to maybe relationships that you have. Obviously, we were able to have Lauren Gross transfer in last year and had a fantastic year for us. We've since hired her on our staff. And then obviously, Berkayla Gray and AJ transferred this year, AJ Leak. But I think a lot of that, Berkayla Gray is a kid that at Jones probably went to our camps since 7th grade. And so we knew Berkayla. So when she hit the portal, we obviously wanted to try to go re-recruit her. So obviously, ULM, Southern Miss, ULM, ULL, there's a lot of rivalries, in our conference, within the conference. I hope that we can say ULM and Troy will be a rivalry, but, as well. But, so great teams, you form those natural rivalries. But I think a lot of the recruiting has more to do with probably my presence in South Mississippi for a while, coaching at a junior college, than necessarily the rivalry.
Let's go over to Victoria.
Just looking at your record from last season, you obviously had quite the turnaround from that season to the season before you were there. And just how do you kind of build off that momentum while also balancing the expectations with all the newcomers you have in the roster as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, anytime you're part of a program, you want to take it a little further than the year before, right? And so I think, our kids got a taste of success. The kids that returned and are coming back for us got that little taste of success. We had a deep run in the WNIT and got to play in the postseason there. And so, obviously that hunger is there, but also our newcomers coming in. I think a lot of them came to ULM because, one, they wanted to have a great experience, but also they wanted to have an opportunity to compete for a championship. And so that's always going to be the goal. It's a great league. Lots of things have to happen. You have to probably get a little lucky as well. But, I think our kids are very much hungry to have an opportunity to be there at the end and have a chance to compete for a championship for sure.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for everybody being here today. Obviously, it's exciting to have Media Day and be able to connect with everybody, talk about Marshall women's basketball. We've had an exciting preseason, obviously, in terms of the summer and getting to go to Italy. I thought that was a great start for our team. And so we're excited about non-conference play and hitting the scrimmages here in the next few weeks and getting a chance to see what our team has been able to put together over the last, 2 to 3 months. And so happy to be here and happy to talk Marshall.
And with that, we'll open up for questions to our media. Please raise your hand and we'll call on you for those questions. We'll start it off with Victoria.
Hey, Coach. You've got a unique experience, obviously, being able to travel internationally with your team as you've just come with the program. What have you kind of seen as everyone's kind of come together and your culture has come together?
Yeah, I think anytime you get to take your team to another country, there's just so many benefits from just their life experience, getting to see new places, your team coming together with the culture, and then obviously there's the basketball benefits to the 10 extra days. And so when we started the summer, one of the very first things we did was sit down and talk with our athletic director, and we wanted to be able to offer this opportunity. And we saw a lot of value in terms of helping our immediate recruiting process and filling out the roster, helping us on the court and build things and systems early on offense and defense, and then just having the experience of taking the team over there. And so I thought for us, it was absolutely, invaluable. Our team bonded really well. We were able to, keep mixing things up on the court and get everybody an opportunity to play and put minutes on the board. And so for us, I think it's invaluable anytime you get the extra days on the court. But, it was a great moment for us to get to know me better, obviously, with a new head coach. We want them to understand how our staff is going to operate and how we're going to interact with them, not just, in practice, but games and on the road. And so I thought it was a lot of wins all rolled up into one. And so we are really grateful for the administration for being able to do that.
Go to Adam.
Hey, Coach. You have, some returning players, and then a lot of them are going to adjust to a new style and a new way that you're going to do things with the program this year. But Aislinn Hayes and Meredith Mayer and players like that, has there been any kind of difficulty for them in terms of transitioning to your style versus the style maybe they played the year before or anywhere else before? And how have you gone about coaching that?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's a secret that Coach Caldwell and I probably did some things different on the court. But I think the piece that has maintained the same is the culture and expectations of what winning programs look like. And so I think for every group, we're kind of looking at what do our team and players bring together that is really good? What are their skill sets? And then how do we put the piece together? And the piece about Meredith and Ace that I think you mentioned and some of our other players, I'm a strong believer that winning's a habit. And they have been very open to learning. And that was probably one of the benefits last year of they came into a new system, they bought in, and then they had success. And so I've been able to reap some of the same rewards that they have been very open to learning about how this system could benefit their strengths, how it can get the same results of winning on the court. And so I think that piece of a transition last year and a transition this year, the culture and expectations of work have been the same, and they're just adapting to different basketball. But we also have different players. We obviously graduated, really strong group last year. And so the team is going to look different in some ways, but we have such a strong court coming back that's helping us propel to the kind of next stages of the game.
Go over to Rob Knox.
Hey, Coach, how are you today? How's everything going?
Good, Rob. How are you?
I'm great. I'm covering the Sun Belt for the next. First of all, congratulations on last year's success and the trip to Italy. I'm always looking outside the box things. So I want to ask you, what was some of the fun non-basketball things you all did in Italy?
Oh, well, I can tell you there was a handful for sure. The group that put the schedule together was amazing. I think for them, we went to Portofino first. And so it was a great time of year. It was very hot. And so they got a chance to swim out in the, kind of the ocean inlets there. And so I think for them, that was probably their highlight. Obviously the food and all of the amazing restaurants that we got to eat. And then we went into Florence and had a chance to go to the Duomo and have, some very Italian cultural experiences there. And so I think if you ask different ones, they would have, somewhere in the combination of between the food, touring around Florence, and then getting to swim in the water and be on the coast for a few days. That kind of combined a little bit of a vacation experience with the basketball. Just a fantastic trip. And we were really blessed to be able to go.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Let's go over to Tim Stevens.
Hi, Juli. How are you?
I'm good, Tim. Thank you.
I'm good. How are the newcomers blending with the veterans, and how do you go about first year? It's a new system for everybody. Does that make it easier for the new kids to come in and blend into the system?
Yeah, I think so. One of the hard things about transition is in some ways it reverts everybody back to a freshman in terms of having to learn the offense, figuring out what the reads are. And obviously the returners who've played for a long time, they pick up information right away. But I think, the piece that's been really helpful is everybody's willingness to learn. And so, when we started early in the summer and immediately being able to implement some things, I think whether you're a returner, or one of the transfers, or even, one of the freshmen coming in some ways it was new for everybody. And so that made it easier because everybody was learning at the same time. But on the flip side, we've been trying to move things forward really quickly so that we can put together some, really efficient systems on both ends of the game.
Thank you.
All right, let's go. One final question from Billy.
Hey, Coach. Sorry, I'll do a quick one. I'm just curious, what do you think personally with your journey so far throughout your coaching career, passing milestones and surpassing 400 career wins. Congratulations. What do you think is going to be one of the most challenging aspects with the transition from Division III to Division I?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of pieces that have been really similar in terms of the basketball and on court, but obviously there are differences. And so I thought we've worked through a lot of the differences. Obviously, we get to open up a whole new ceiling in terms of players. I thought, at the previous institutions, we had done a great job of going and getting, players that were viewed above our level. And in some ways, that's the same thing we're trying to do now. We're trying to go out and get the best athletes that we can get that are going to have a successful career at Marshall and fit our system. And so, the on-court piece, if I had to say, what one of the biggest difference was, at our previous institution, we had 4 players that could play at a much higher level. And now we have, 14 players that are playing, 16 players at a really, really high level. And so for us, we're trying to figure out, what are the extra things that we can do with more skill and different experiences. And so I think it's been really fun. We have coaches that have had a lot of different experiences at different levels. And, for us, we've really enjoyed the past 4 months and we're having a blast. Our players, seem to be really enjoying it and learning quick. And obviously they can't wait to, for games to start in 2 weeks and to hit the MAC challenge. And so, I think we're just working through all the differences daily, but team culture, work ethic, there's so many things that are the same. I mean, you can still guard a ball screen the same way, still defend post players the same way. And so we're just doing that, with some bigger and some faster athletes at some positions, but it's been great. And, we're excited and blessed to be here.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate the time today.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you guys for being here first and foremost. And we're super excited about the season ahead of us. We brought in 10 new players that are going to be an arsenal that's added to what we already have established in the 4 returners. We have a lot more length, better shooting. And of course, we want to put in that defensive work that we are accustomed to showing night in and night out. But we have a great non-conference schedule. We have 3 Power 4s on our schedule. And we have a lot of other healthy competition that'll prepare us for the rigors of the Sun Belt Conference.
And we'll open up now for questions from our media. We'll start it off with Mark Davis.
Hey, Coach, don't feel bad. I mess up the Power 5, Power 4 thing all the time on television, so don't worry about it. Hey, we talked about all the talent you guys have. I guess a lot goes into bringing that talent out in terms of creating a chemistry and a gel between the teammates and having everybody buy in. I wonder how that process is going, now that, we're less than 3 weeks out. Are you as far along in that aspect as you'd like to see?
I'm definitely pleased with where we're at currently.
You got plenty of time, so you're relaxed.
I'm definitely pleased with where we're at currently on both ends of the floor. But the thing that I'm most pleased with is our culture on and off of the floor. I think the players have done a tremendous job of policing themselves and buying into whatever philosophy or identity that we want to display for this season. I love the fact that the togetherness that they show off the court, it also pays big dividends for us on the court in play. I love also their commitment to wanting to win, and they understand that a certain type of work is necessary in order for us to be able to be the type of team that we envision ourselves being. I also love the fact that they are very engaged in the community and they understand the importance of not just branding for themselves, but branding for the program as a whole. And they want the arena filled with butts in the seats, but then they also know that they have to put a product on the floor that's going to be worthy of them coming back. So it's an exciting time for us. It's an exciting time for women's basketball, period. And I think we all are chomping at the bit to be able to play someone else other than each other. We're tired of beating each other up. They're tired of hearing my voice. They're ready to go.
Let's go over to Victoria.
Hey, Coach. Of your four returners, you've had two that made the All Sun Belt preseason team. Just what have you seen from them, and like, especially with the amount of newcomers you've brought in, and maybe how they've stood out as leaders both on and off the floor?
Hi, Victoria. First thing, one of them is a returner from last year, India Buford, and Kelsey Thompson, who made third team. She is a player that we picked up out of the transfer portal from South Alabama within our conference. But the contributions that they have made have been tremendous since day one that they stepped on the floor. A lot of the connections that we have, it was all reinforced during the recruitment process. And now once they hit campus, we just hit the ground running with a different type of vigor and togetherness. With those two, I feel like we have a deadly combination on the left or the right wing. Regardless of where they are on the floor, they're going to garner a lot of attention, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see those two play together. But they are tremendous pieces that we have that will complement all the other players, that combination of players that they can be on the floor with at any given time.
Let's go back to Mark Davis.
Coach, going for a fourth consecutive 20+ win season. Obviously, huge for you guys, but I know you guys want more. Do you guys feel that you're kind of on the cusp there of getting over that hump, getting into the field of 64 and taking that next step, getting the program back to where you want to get it back to?
I really do. I really feel like we are right there. We built this team to be able to not just get to the line, but cross the line. I think we've established ourselves as a program that is committed to winning and doing whatever it takes to get that job done. Now it's time for us to be able to get to that point with high expectations of doing so, but then crossing the line and checking off that box of being able to call ourselves a champion. We know that recruiting is a major part of any team being able to have an opportunity to not just say we won 20+ games the past 3 years in a row. I think we've averaged 23 wins, but it's something to be said when you can crown yourself a champion, when you can have that tag attached to you, knowing that you put in that work. You found those players that put in that work, that had the belief system, not just in the coaches, but in each other, to be able to do that in a conference that is so tough and so good night in and night out.
Our next questions come from Rob Knox.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I wanted to ask you. I'm actually working on a story on North Carolina A&T guard Jordan Dorsey. I know you all played them last year in the WNIT. What do you remember about her? And obviously you've played professionally and been around. What makes Jordan Dorsey one of the maybe hidden secrets in college basketball?
Well, probably not a good time to ask me that question because I'm still sour over the fact that we did not win. And
I
I'm
understand.
over the fact that we lost a buzzer beater.
I apologize.
So I probably don't have too many nice things to say, but tremendous player. Obviously, leads her team in a way that sometimes the stat sheet doesn't always give her credit for. But just her uncanny ability to put the ball in the basket and just be disruptive on the court is the thing that probably gave us the most problems when we played them. But yeah.
No, I appreciate that, and just to follow up on that, when you talk about the atmosphere of women's basketball, or just in general, how much have you seen the game evolve from your time, just maybe in the last 4 or 5 years?
When I started playing, I guess professionally, we can say, in the WNBA, I played with the Sparks. So the city of Los Angeles, they're known for champions, winning championships. And if you're not winning a championship, then people probably aren't going to come and support. But even if you are a good team, you still have to compete with the elements. Everyone loves to be outside in California. So it was hard for us to get the fans to come and be to the game from start to finish. They may show up third quarter of a championship game, the Western Conference Finals against us in Detroit, the Detroit Shock or the Sacramento Monarchs, back then. But to go through all of that and to sit and be a fan nowadays and to see that the arenas are packed, filled to the capacity, and the support is just tremendous from the media attention and then to the in-game experience. I am tickled pink every time I get to see that. I am also very joyous over the fact that the sacrifices we all made to have women's basketball be on a solid foundation today, that really does my heart well, knowing that we're leaving it in good hands. And I'm hoping that they will also create a legacy for those behind them to carry that torch on. But when you see the media rights and now the money exchange surrounding women's basketball, under the table, behind closed doors, the women's game is always attached to conversations and to deals. But now for us to be at the forefront of those deals and to reap the benefits of our work solely for us, I'm very happy for that. Wish I would have been around nowadays to get the nice check, but the $50,000 that I made for a WNBA season back then, I think it was all well worth it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach, and best of luck this year.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. We really appreciate the time today.
Thank you.
Sure, not a problem. First of all, thank you guys for putting on this media day. It's been really good to hear all the other coaches speak about their programs and about the Sun Belt, and everybody wanting to get off and play somebody else. But you know, we finished up year one. Year one was year one. It was a tough season. And I think the thing that I was most impressed with was my staff. My staff was outstanding and showing up to work every day and then going out and recruiting. So going into year two, we brought in 8 new faces, which I'm super excited to share with the rest of the Sun Belt and NCAA college basketball. We feel really, you know, we feel like we're at a good place right now with 8 new faces and 7 returners. And like every coach has said, man, we're ready to get this thing started and play somebody different, play somebody other than our male practice squad and, you know, somebody else wearing a Jaguar jersey. So we're ready to get this thing rolling.
We'll open it up now for questions for our media on the call. Please raise your hand and we'll call on you for those questions. We'll start now with Victoria.
Hey, Coach. You have a pretty even split as far as returners and newcomers with 7 and 8. How have you kind of seen them come together and bond as you've had these practices now for the last couple of weeks?
Well, our bonding started back in May. We were very, very fortunate to get all of our newcomers on campus except for our 2 international kids from Spain. And so we've kind of been building this process, you know, from May. It's been very cool to see the 2 groups come together. We were super selective in who we were recruiting, especially in my first recruiting class. And we were super selective in the individuals that, you know, remained. Those individuals that remained, those 7 kids, they shared our same value system, our same work ethic, our same vision. And so bringing in the 8 with the 7 has been a really, really nice mixture. We just went on a team retreat last weekend. We went camping, and when I tell you it was, you know, it was super fun. And it was all organic and nothing was, you know, out of the ordinary. And again, we have 15 young women that think alike, that work alike, and have the same standards and expectations as our staff. So now it's a little bit easier to demand more and to get this thing rolling.
Let's go over to Billy.
Hey, Coach. I'm just kind of curious, you know, after your first year, what were a couple things that you kind of learned about this league and what it takes to compete? And then, you know, maybe don't give away any secrets, but, you know, a couple bulletin board materials that you really want to stick to this year.
Right. Well, number one, I was away from the league for only 3 years. And when I was here back from 2013 to 2020, it was super competitive. You know, it was the UT Arlingtons and the Little Rocks that were in the league. And we at South Alabama positioned ourselves to play in championship games and win games in the WNIT. But over the 3 years that I was gone with the additions of the JMUs and the ODUs and the Southern Miss, it became even more competitive. I think the one really cool thing about this league is that all 14 coaches can coach, right? It's not that you just go out and you recruit a bunch of talent, but all 14 coaches can coach and scheme. And so that was one thing in year one that I would say stood out. And, you know, the main thing, what we tried to get accomplished in year one, and if you followed our team and you kind of saw our roster change throughout the year, was that our foundation, our culture, we would not sacrifice. And that was, if we didn't do anything else, we had to establish a strong base in our foundation and our culture. And, you know, we were put in a tough situation. It was 15 kids that we didn't recruit. We didn't get a chance to go in the portal and grab a couple of those, you know, those first couple of months. But I'm super proud of my staff for just every day laying the bricks of the foundation and what our culture is. And then on top of that, recruiting their tails off and bringing in 8 young women that fit along with the culture and the foundation that we put in place in year 1.
Let's go back over to Victoria.
Yeah, just about your culture and everything. I mean, you guys have been holding open practices. You have this madness at the Mitch. You just had a social with the men's team as well. And you have this recruiting account that also does a lot of fun hits. I know I saw your girls kind of impersonating you even and things like that. So just kind of what are you hoping fans and just anyone that watches you guys kind of takes away from what they see from your team as far as how they're gelling and how that relationship is going to kind of be seen on the court as well?
Thank you, Victoria, for recognizing that. And again, my credit goes back to the staff, but last year, you know, and I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm a South Alabama alum. I graduated while I was here over those 7 years. I got my master's here. So this place means a lot to me. And in my first year, it was very difficult sometimes to see the product that we were putting out on the floor, and not from a talent standpoint, but how we carried ourselves and those types of things. So in year 1, we were number 2 in the nation in community service behind Boston College women's, their women's basketball team. So one of the things I wanted to do was reconnect with the community. And make sure that they understand that we're growing something step by step that's going to take time and going to be super successful. One of the greatest compliments is that people text and email and stop by and it's like, man, your team, like they really like each other. They play hard. They're having a lot of fun. And that's the product that South Alabama deserves to showcase night in and night out. It's a group of young women who have high standards and expectations for themselves. And when people bring their grandchildren and their daughters to games, they can say, hey, I want my kid to be just like that. I want my kid to be just like number 24, number 20, whatever number it is. And so I have a 3-year-old. I want to make sure that she can look in my locker room and have 15 big sisters to look up to. So we're super excited. The community, the great thing about Mobile is that we are Mobile's team. And through thick and thin, they show up and they show out. And so they hung in there with us that first year. And I'm just so honored at the opportunity to show them something different, something back to what we were, and get this thing rolling.
Thanks, Coach Jackson. Appreciate the time today.
Go Jax.
Thank you first for you all hosting this event and being on with us. Obviously, my belief is media drives everything. You can have whatever you have going on, but if media is not involved, doesn't matter. Might as well do it behind closed doors. And so I do want to thank you all for doing this. And I do think that it's very important to our league for people to learn more about us. But thank you. We're looking forward to the year. Obviously, we returned Malia Grayson. We returned Jacoria Bracey and Nolly Jean and Morgan Seeper. That was a big part of last year, especially down that stretch when we had the Magnificent Seven playing in the NIT. And, I think they gained very valuable experience in the area of taking ownership. Obviously, we had Dom Davis that's playing professionally in Hungary and having a great year there. We will miss her because, Dom was going to take over and make the play. But I do think those 4, when we had to play the Magnificent Seven, I mean, we were watching film on it this morning, and we even had to play Morgan Seeper at the 5 at times. So again, I think they gained valuable experience. And the goal is to apply it now because we're here. I mean, basketball season is here. Whether you're ready or not, here it comes.
With that, we'll open up for questions from our media. We'll start off with Sam.
Hey, Joye, good to see you. Just over a year ago, you got your cancer diagnosis, and just wondering now how you're feeling and how that maybe compares to a year ago when you were, ramping up to the season at this point.
Yeah. Last year at the end of the season, I was really sick, and my sickness wasn't, and that's what it is with cancer. It's not always the cancer, it's the treatment. and what's going on with you. And so that was really and truly the deal. I actually drove from the conference tournament straight to the emergency room, knowing that something wasn't right. And I had what's called pneumonitis, which is pneumonia in both lungs. And that's what my struggle was. But now, you know, I feel really good. You know, I'm energized. I'm not normal. I don't know that you ever go back to normal. And I am 62, so age is creeping in there too as well. But I'm very blessed. You know, I had a lot of people praying for me, a lot of people pulling me through it. And so I'm very grateful for that. And those people that were walking with me through it. And so, yeah, I feel good right now and ready to roll.
Let's go over to Heath Hinton.
Hey,
Hey.
Coach, Coach, good to see you, hon. I guess question I had for you is you had so much happen last year to you, not just health, but other things. But can you talk about your faith and how that got you through that, and you know the outlook upon this year from last year, having to deal with so much going into this season?
You know, number one, I mean, God's going to get us through it, you know, one way or another. It's his will, not our will. And I will be very honest with you. You know, sometimes I want to help him out. You know, come on, God, let's get this done. But it's not the way it works. But obviously having the faith that I have that, you know, that you can get through something, that you can get through tough times, and just continuing to fight. And, you know, I think some of that too, other than our Heavenly Father, is just the competitive spirit you have as being an athlete. You know, that you don't want somebody to beat you. You want to beat it. And I think that definitely has played a big part in it. And I will tell you, mentioned my staff, Heath. Last year, my staff was amazing. I mean, they did a phenomenal job of taking control when I couldn't, when I thought I could. And I've got an even better staff this year. And I think the reason why is because Brooks Donald Williams, that joined my staff, that was at ULM, McNelis, in Alabama. She's been with me before. She coached with me at Memphis. She was on my staff here when we first got here. And so she knows things that we do. And that's really been amazing. And then Barbara Ferris and Jessica Barber's with us in year 2. And then my son Connor, which he knows what we do, is on our staff now. So it makes a huge difference. You know, and I had faith in my staff last year. I have faith in this staff as well to be able to help at any time with anything that we need. And they have done that. So I just think when you look at, you know, the big picture of things, and last year was a hard year for me. I mean, I had cancer. I lost both parents in a short period of time. And it was a very emotional time for me. But without my faith in God and feeling his presence, and people, like I said, being there for me and praying for me. And that's the reason I made it through that.
Heath, go ahead if you have a follow-up there.
Yeah, I do, Coach. You talked about Dom and how she was kind of, you needed to score. We saw it many times. End of the game, give it to her, get out of the way, let her go.
Yeah.
Who is that person this year? Is it Jacoria? Is it Dom? Do you have, I mean, do you have, not Dom, I'm sorry, Malia. Do you have a maybe a couple of players that you can do that with? Who are you looking at to be that go-to girl in that final minute or final seconds?
Well, to be honest with you, we've put ourselves, and again, it's different with officials and fans, but we've put ourselves in situations in short clock. You know, who can make the bucket or make the play? And to be very honest with you, at this point, it's different people. But I know, as well as you know, you got to have somebody that you know is going to make the bucket. Dom was going to take the shot, but she was going to make the play, make the bucket. And she did that her whole career here, whether it was a pass to Malia, whether she scored it. You know, she was definitely a game changer, and she was a winner, and she competed. And so we have a couple of new faces that have come in that we've even put in that situation as well. Bree Sutton, the transfer from Arkansas State. She just reminds me a lot of Dom. And so we've put her in that situation. So honestly, I'm not sure who that, and I hope by the time we even get into conference play, that we'll be able to know who that is, because you got to have somebody to say, hey, go get a bucket. Now, Malia Grayson, you got to get it to her, and she's going to get a bucket or an offensive board and a stick back or a foul. But sometimes it makes it difficult. So you've got to get her off screens and that action. And so that's why I say Dom did a great job of always making the play. She might not score it, but she'll get the right person to score it.
We got time for one more from Sam.
And just talking about Malia, what have you maybe seen from her this offseason, or what's been the biggest area of improvement or focus for her to, coming into the season?
She has really changed her game. She has really, really improved her face-up game off the bounce, the shot, shooting the 3 ball a little bit. But her confidence level is totally different. And we all know when you have confidence, you can do anything. But she's really worked hard on her face-up game. And Coach Ferris has done a phenomenal job in working with her. Connor has done a phenomenal job. They've teamed that action to be able to add some perimeter skills to her game. And, she has really, really embraced that. But she's a different player than she was last year. She can score more than just posting up on that block. And that's a huge plus for us because we've got to have that action.
Thanks, Coach. We really appreciate the time today.
Thank you.
Good afternoon to everyone. It's an exciting year on us being back in the Sun Belt Conference and doing our best to compete. This part for me is exciting because, it's the beginning, and that means you're working with your team. And then next up for us is going to be cheering for all the other teams in the Sun Belt Conference in the preseason, kind of seeing how we match up against the rest of the women's basketball teams out there in the U.S. before we hit right into our conference play.
We'll open up now for questions from our media. For our media, please raise your hand and we'll call on you for those questions. We'll start it off with Victoria.
Hey, Coach, as you're kind of getting towards the start of the season now, who's maybe one or two players that have kind of stood out to you and you've seen a lot of growth with that you're really excited about this year?
Victoria, that's a great question. I'm very similar to a lot of my colleagues in that we have a brand new team, meaning that we have 10 newcomers and 5 returners, and only one of those is someone who started and played significant minutes. So if you're asking me to pinpoint any one particular player, I can tell you at this point, right, we're only at the halfway mark with practices. There isn't one particular player, but there's definitely a sense of togetherness and a sense of fun and excitement in our practices. And that's really what you want as a coach. You want to keep it in a healthy environment to where we're learning, growing, you have your struggles, but you're able to bounce back and keep on plugging away.
Let's go over to Adam.
Hey, Coach. One of the most, obvious things with your team last team was its propensity for shooting the three ball. You guys were, one of the top 3 teams in the league for doing that, but also you were really good at defending that, and you were really good at rebounding it. Are those things that we can expect to see again from your team this year, or are there other areas where you see that you might be top 3 in those categories this year that maybe last year you weren't?
Good question, Adam. I can tell you that right now we're developing as a team as to what our basketball identity is going to be. I think that one thing that the fans that follow Texas State women's basketball will see that'll be surprising is there's a lot of changes in the way we play and what we'll be doing, and some of that's still evolving right now. Again, I'm gonna sadly or happily, excitedly be able to say, with this team, with these changes, you're talking about 10 new players is a lot on a basketball team, and this is my first season of having a total of 15 women. I've never coached on a team with so many young women before. And then being able to, make that work for us on the basketball floor is going to be critical, right, in what we look like. So if you were to ask me right now, what does our identity look like in Texas State women's basketball? Right now, we're bringing the juice. We bring energy every day in practice. And, we do have those bad days, as they say, or tougher days in practice. But, man, this team turns around that next day, and they just skyrocket, right, improve upon who they were and what they did. And I absolutely love coaching them every day.
Let's go to Billy.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
I'm good, Billy.
So this is kind of a personal, I guess, culture question. One of the things that stands out to me is obviously community service and being there for the community. So I was just wondering if you could shed some light on Lizzie and your work with Team Impact and what that's kind of done to not only you personally, but your student athletes.
We absolutely love Lizzie and having Lizzie in our program. It's our second time partnering with Team Impact. I think it's an awesome program. I really felt good about the program in general when I saw, when Michigan won, right, the national championship in football, they had their Team Impact student athlete with them, along the way. What you see truly is how we're able to be a piece of a young person's life and their family's life through a really rough, dark patch. I know Coach, Joye Lee-McNelis was on earlier and what she's gone through. Lizzie's going through truly juvenile cancer, and she's young. We started with her when she was 5 years old, and we're able to be here with every step along the way with her and her family. We have a leadership group. And they, on our team, there's a group of 4 young women on our team. And what they do is they come up with different programming, and then they work with our assistant AD of operations. And she works with the family on figuring, okay, what works in her life? If it does work, we're able to spend time with her. If it doesn't, we're sending her videos. She just came back from Disney World, so we get a chance to just really have an opportunity to grow ourselves. As much as we're putting into spending time with Lizzie and her family, we gain so much more. Thank you for asking that, Billy, because I absolutely love Team Impact, and I really encourage every coach at every level, Division 1, 2, and 3, because I've seen they have lacrosse programs, softball programs. Everyone in your community can reach out to a family, a local family, and be able to truly have a significant impact, if you will, in their lives, but as well as in your programs.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate the time today.
All right, thanks, Sam. Let's go.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sunbelt Conference, for giving us this opportunity today. And thank you to all the media that's involved in this, because no matter what we do, unless it's told through your pen and through your story, it almost didn't happen. So thank you for being here today. I feel like we're coming off a roller coaster ride from last year's season, as far as we started the season 0-6, which is a little bit uncharacteristic and unpleasant. Then we got in conference, and we managed in this great 14-team conference to end up second behind Marshall, who we didn't get an opportunity to play. And then we got in to the Sunbelt tournament, and that's where our ultimate goal, what we work for, we try to win that tournament, of course, and get in the NCAA tournament. And we didn't reach that goal. We lost in the tournament. But then we got the second win, and we came back in the WNIT, and we ended up making history for Troy University and making it to the Fab Four and playing some great basketball, our best basketball down the stretch there. So it was quite a roller coaster. And going into this season, I don't know what to predict. We have a completely different team. I think that the Sunbelt Conference coaches were generous in voting us second in the preseason polls, in that we only have 3 returners, 1 that had any starting minutes. And we lost 90% of our scoring and 90% of our rebounding. I'm certainly not poor mouthing, because I believe we're a really good basketball team. We're going to be fighting for another championship this year. But at this point, nothing is proven. We're fighting hard for culture things. We're fighting hard for our own identity. This team is completely different from last year's Troy team. Our post players are bigger, more back to the basket than those running, leaping, athletic, all those things type of smaller post players we had last year. Our guards are different from last year's guards. I think we have more specialty positions, in that some of them are really hard to guard off the dribble. Others are really hard to guard when you kick the ball out to them. They're tough from the 3-point line. So it's a completely different identity that my staff and I are waking up to every day and trying to learn more about and figure out. And we're just excited for this phase and for this new season to get kicked off.
We'll open up now for questions from our media. For our media, please raise your hand and we'll call on you for those questions. We'll start off with Rose.
Hey, Chanda, this is Rosie Langella from WSFA. How are you?
Hey, Rose, how is it going?
Oh, it's going pretty good. Hey,
Good.
with 9 newcomers and only, the 3 returners, I mean, chemistry-wise, how do you think the team is getting along? How do you think everybody's gelling together so far?
We've had our ups and downs, and if it were all ups, that's not as good as people might think. We're putting our team in very difficult situations you need the rough to come out, and you need to learn how to handle each other and how to speak to each other. And, we come back and we do team bonding things behind it, but, if you have a goal at practice that everybody has to have 10 rebounds and throughout practice, and everybody's fighting and clawing and trying to hold their own, which is the phase we're in right now. I mean, everything is not smooth, and that's okay. That's the way it's supposed to be. But I really believe in the end, our culture is going to be great because we do work at our culture. We have 4 words that our team has chosen that we work at every day, including discipline, respect, dog, and family. And we work and we evaluate those words every day. And those are the things that are bringing us together as our individual goals and the things we're striving for individually pull us into ourselves, our culture, and our overall goals there pulling us together.
Rose, go ahead with your follow-up.
I also wanted to know, just of those newcomers that you got, it seems like they're experienced players. You have upperclassmen coming in. And so what have you noticed from their experience, their play so far in preseason?
Well, I mean, we have a mix, right? We do have 3 All-American junior college players here. We have a few more junior college players that we got in that were not All-American, but could have been All-American. They're really good. And then we have some out of the transfer portal that are, very experienced and mature players. So whereas we want our 3 returners from last year to lead, they understand what we expect. We're enjoying that we have the maturity of these transfer players coming in who are bringing their own moxie and their own leadership ability and saying, hey, I want to lead this. Hey, I believe in this. I believe this helps win. I want to lead this. And so we're getting that leadership from our former players, but also our new players.
Go ahead, Rose, you have another one.
I just have one more for you, Chanda. I know you said it was generous for the Sun Belt to pick you guys for second place, but what do you think that says just about you and your coaching staff and the confidence that they have in you guys with this brand new team to make it as far, or just being picked in second?
That's a good question. I think that the coaches in the Sun Belt have come to expect that no matter where our personnel is on the list of how many returning all Sun Belt players we have, or where we finished the year before, I think they've come to realize that we work really hard at things that bring a constant to winning, which is rebounding. We've led the nation in one category or another, led the nation in rebounding, I think the last 5 years. And so that when you're consistent in things like that, I guess you feel like, hey, we might not all know all the players. We might not be familiar with the players coach recruited or has on the team this year, but we know that the things that are staples in their program wins. So, I appreciate that.
Let's go over to Adam.
Hey, Coach. This sort of goes off it's on the same subject with what Rose was asking about your team and the makeup of your team. But I also want to point out is that you don't have a single freshman or a single sophomore on your roster. So as a coach, what does that do for you in terms of, you're going to take your team on the road. You're not going to play a home game until December, and you don't have, say, underclassmen on your team. Is that going to be something that helps you as a coach throughout the season, but also during what might be a rigorous non-conference slate, being on the road so much?
Well, my roster is upside down, right? I mean, it's not a smooth 4 from each classification. But if you look back, it's really never been that. I've had a few freshmen on the team every now and then, maybe a sophomore every now and then, but everybody's got to be true to who they are. And I am true to knowing about the junior college player. And I'm true to knowing about like these transfers. So whereas, yes, you go on the road, there are no freshmen. You'd like for them to be learning for future, right? To have these players come back next year and be ready for those situations again. But since we don't have that, we're going to take advantage of the fact that we do have experienced players. We have players like Breanna Jackson, who played at Oklahoma State. We have other transfers that played at other Division I universities who have started years and been in intense situations. And we're going to take that, the good from that they know how to navigate that. And, and then hopefully the players we do have returning will have a big enough voice next year to lead us into those situations next year.
Let's kick it over to Billy.
Hey, Coach, how are you doing?
Good, Billy.
I was just curious. I have seen a direct correlation with, the women's basketball coaches as a whole with scheduling. Just wanted to talk about, the beginning of your schedule and how you really think that prepares your team for essentially a gauntlet of going through the conference.
We have Coach Jennifer Graff, my associate head coach, does the scheduling for us, and she does it with a philosophy in mind of, we want to be prepared for anything if and when we make our ultimate goal and get back in the NCAA tournament. And so when you schedule people like LSU, if you make it through and you can get out of this great conference that we're in and be the one team that gets to go to the NCAA tournament, you're probably not going to draw anybody better than LSU, and it's not just better than, it's the types of team we play. We're going to see a gamut of different styles of basketball, across the board. If you look at our preseason schedule, we play some dribble drive teams. We play some teams that have dominant post players. So in that respect, we're trying to prepare for Sunbelt Conference play, because that's a lot of what we see in Sunbelt with 14 teams. The great coaches we have in this league, the great athletes we have in this league, we see the gamut of, wow, this team, we might have to go to App State and really guard the 3-point line. Wow, we might have to go guard at JMU and this great basket player. So I think the diversity, our schedule is eclectic and it prepares us.
Thanks, Coach Rigby. We really appreciate the time today.
Thank you.